on this episode of the Clip Service Podcast. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. LA is at the center of one of probably the most shocking trade that I've ever seen in my lifetime. For those of you that don't know or not are absolutely living under a rock, Luka Doncic has been traded to the LA Lakers for Anthony Davis. We're going to get into that probably first because it's that big of a deal. Also going to recap the last three games of the road trip for the Clippers, the last of which just finished up. The Clippers unfortunately took a loss to the Raptors. So a little disappointing. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to do another hot take, shot take. We haven't done that in a while. And there's plenty of hot takes to be spoken into existence. So, guys, it's going to be a jam-packed episode this time around. So stick around, and without further ado, let's make it happen.
What's up, Clipper Nation? And welcome to the Clip Service Podcast. Make sure to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music, YouTube, and you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Clip Service Pod. I'm Rola, and this is Nick. Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it, indeed. Thank you guys for tuning in to the 47th episode of the Clip Service Podcast. And it's going to be a big one, guys. 47, number 47. A lucky number to some people.
To some people, not to me.
To some, yeah. But yeah, guys. Woke up. Well, actually, I didn't wake up to this news, but checked my phone, at like 9:30 p.m. last night to discover, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that we had to double check, triple check, make sure we weren't getting centelled or, there wasn't like a fake parody account tweeting this. But Shams tweeted out that the Los Angeles Lakers were trading for Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. Markieff Morris being the person that headlined that trade for the Lakers. I'm kidding, of course. But the Dallas Mavericks, get AD, Max Christie, and the 2029 first-round pick from the Lakers. It was a three-team deal. Utah Jazz got involved to some capacity. I know that they, I actually have it right here. They received Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. Not really sure what they gave up. Not that it's super inconsequential. The biggest storyline is Luka Doncic is going to the Lakers. One of my least favorite players of all time is going to my least favorite team of all time. What are your takeaways right off the bat, Rolla? Because I got some. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this trade, let me just get your initial reaction when you saw this news.
Yeah, so thank you. So like you, I was, in bed. I'm 3 hours ahead of Nick, so I live on the East Coast. If people don't know, if our viewers are listening for the first time, so I was in bed. It was around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm just
Were you
chilling.
asleep? You woke up to the news?
No, it was a Saturday night. I'm just enjoying my night, chilling, playing some video games. And, check my phone, as one does, go on Twitter, and I see a tweet from Shams Charania, and the name Luka Doncic. I couldn't believe my eyes. Close the app, open it again, just to make sure, my eyes weren't
refresh,
lying to me.
delete the app, reinstall.
Yeah, and then Shams tweeted again, quote, "Yes, this is real," just to make sure that everyone knew that that was actually him. He wasn't hacked. It was real. The Lakers were trading away Anthony Davis and receiving Luka Doncic along with some other pieces.
That's how shocking it was. It was like
Right.
the rest of the NBA Twitter was going crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, people were corroborating this information. Other reporters, yes, I can confirm this was real.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, I was in absolute disgust. I was sick to my stomach. But I guess in totality, I was sad because, and I can go into the details of my feelings, but and I've also mentioned this in previous episodes. This is what I wanted from the Clippers. It seems like the Lakers do make the right moves, and it seems like the Clippers kind of wait on things. And, I've been pushing for the Clippers to get rid of Kawhi, get rid of James Harden, get rid of everyone, and and try to start with a young core, right? It seems like the Lakers, they started their dynasty with LeBron and AD kind of at the same time Kawhi and PG started on the Clippers. And the Lakers won a championship, and now they've moved on, or they're showing that they're moving on to the next era with Luka Doncic headlining. And to see that the Clippers not only failed in our first experiment with Kawhi and Paul George, but to see us also behind on the rebuilding when it comes to, getting some young talent to lead the Clippers into the next era. It honestly just makes me sad, man. And to see it be Luka Doncic, the dude that drops 40-point triple doubles on us,
and loses twice too.
And loses
Don't forget
twice,
that part.
But has struck fear into the hearts of Clipper fans. I mean, he's taken us to 7 games in 2 series.
He's a scary dude. Yeah.
I mean, Nick and I, we've mentioned this before. Nick and I have seen it firsthand, and
we've been at the games, gotten into fights with with Laker fans that just happened to be there.
Yeah, and to see that guy on the Lakers, and he's gonna be wearing a Lakers jersey, honestly makes me sick to my stomach, and it's such a bummer to see.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bummer to see for a lot of reasons. I can co-sign that sentiment. I think the biggest thing that gives me pause, but it's also like, oh my God, the Lakers got bailed out again, because I've said it before. I don't think that Rob Pelinka is a good GM. I don't. I think that he gets bailed out time and time again for mistakes that he makes. Exhibit A being the Lakers win a championship in 2020, and then they immediately trade away a lot of the guys that were responsible for that, for Russell Westbrook. Then they go into this period of limbo. Then they were able to offload Russell Westbrook and kind of revitalize that with D'Angelo Russell and Vanderbilt and stuff like that. And then they were bad. And then yet again, they get bailed out. But the thing that gives me pause with this is, and this will be one of my reasons for, I'll get there in a sec, but the thing that gives me pause is the Dallas Mavericks seemingly wanted to get rid of a guy that they had built their entire franchise around for the last 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody, unless you were locked into the tightest circles in the NBA, universe, nobody saw this coming. I think that if you could, Luka, to everybody, including myself, was probably one of maybe 5 players that seemed to be untouchable, right?
Right.
But if the Dallas Mavericks wanted to get rid of him, why did they not request more in return? And why was it just the Lakers? And if apparently, allegedly, one of the things that they wanted to avoid was Luka Doncic's injury history and his conditioning. They said that he was, didn't take care of his body, which has been my criticism of Luka for a while. Like, I'm not fat shaming or anything like that, but when you're the lead ball handler on a team, when you're a lead ball handler on a team that has championship aspirations, you got to be conditioned, right? Right. It didn't seem like he took that very seriously. But if that was the reason why the Dallas Mavericks wanted to get rid of him, then you wouldn't be trading for a guy that gets injured just as much, if not more. And he's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years older or whatever.
He's also had questions about his conditioning and his off-season work. So,
I mean, I guess the difference is he's a champion, so you're pairing up a champion with another champion in Kyrie. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit perplexing. It only takes 1 first-round pick to get Luka Doncic, who is a generational offensive talent. That gives me pause. I did some. I was looking at other news that was being leaked. according to what a few people were saying, Nico Harrison, who's the GM of the Dallas Mavericks, has a very close relationship with Rob Pelinka. Was there some tampering there? I don't know.
Dude.
So, I mean, that could be, a factor. I don't know. I'm not looking at it that deep. My takeaway from this, and I'm going to try and paraphrase this because I could go on for about an hour. My takeaway from this is the Lakers did what they needed to do. Bottom line, the Lakers did what they needed to do. The AD LeBron pairing had run its course. Mm-hmm. They did what they needed to do. They won a championship, but year after year, it looked like they were losing more and more momentum as a duo. And they extended, in essence, they extended their window for being competitive maybe another decade. I don't know. But oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so where was I going with this?
Well, Luka.
Where did I leave off?
Well, you left off.
This shit has me so rattled.
You left off on. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Okay, so basically, let me backtrack a little bit. So bear with me, guys.
You left off on the Lakers window is now open 10.
Yeah, so the Lakers. Okay, yes. So the Lakers did what they needed to do, right? Like they covered their bases. It was a no-brainer. Like you hit up any team that's in the same position as the Lakers, they will make that move 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, 11 times out of 10. The thing that and I'm not trying to say this because I don't like the Lakers. I'm looking at this as objectively as possible. No.
Go off.
I've said for the last 3 or 4 years that I'm not 100% sure that Luka has what it takes to be a champion. He's a very competitive player. He's a general offensive talent. He's amazing. But based on what I've seen with his conditioning, which was something that the Dallas Mavericks, were concerned about, his inability to play defense or care on defense, his lack of accountability. I mean, you see it when he makes a mistake, he'll either point his fingers at the refs or point his fingers at his teammates. It's a cocktail for, some questions. I think that while the Lakers did what they needed to do, if you're trying to win now, is the LeBron Luka duo going to work? You lose a ton of defense for a team that was already very bad on that end of the floor most of this season. You lose a ton of defense losing AD and bringing in Luka Doncic. Yes, you gain a lot of offense, but they're both lead ball handlers with LeBron and Luka. Will it work now for the time being? And Luka's also injured. So are you trying to win this year? Probably not. Next year, LeBron's got another year, another year of mileage on him. Is he going to retire soon? So once the LeBron era is over and you just have Luka, are you going to try and build around Luka when you have less draft capital than you did before you traded for him? You have one less pick. So bottom line, I think that there's something behind the scenes, unless this was tampering or unless there was some blackmail going on.
Whoa.
I think that the Dallas Mavericks have such little belief in Luka as a championship level player, like I have the last couple of years, that they wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible. They wanted to get a guy that could be competitive, i.e. AD. And so it's like, okay, do the Dallas Mavericks know something about Luka that we don't, in terms of like his ability to compete and his ability? Maybe he's a horrible teammate. Who knows? And so now the Lakers are faced with trying to figure that out, not only with less draft capital than they did before, but he's going to command a big contract. He's a free agent in, I think, 2029. He's going to command a big contract. Are you going to be able to sign free agents around him? I don't know. I think I'm not. Bottom line, I don't know how moved I am by this trade. I think it was what needed to be done if you're the Lakers, but from where's the timeline? Like, what was the goal here besides like putting your future in a guy that the Dallas Mavericks, who had built around him for the last 5 years, wanted to just shit can? Like, so there's some question marks here. I don't think it's as cut and dry as people think it is. Like, I don't think it immediately vaults the Lakers into this dynasty era. I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we'll see.
So, going off that, I think that, I mean, you mentioned that you're looking at this objectively, and I
I
don't
am,
think
and it
you
doesn't
are.
see. I am.
I
though.
don't think
I
you
really
are. I
am.
think first of all, I think you're looking too deep into it. You're looking for like you're
But you
reaching,
have to.
you're
You
reaching
have
low-key.
to. Okay,
First things
explain
first.
explain your side of things then.
First things first.
You're about to get me
Let's
heated, Rolla.
let's look at the facts, brother.
Okay, sure.
Luka Doncic took his team to the NBA Finals
Sure.
last year
Sure.
at the age of 24.
Mhm.
It doesn't it like you're saying that you're making all these predictions into the future. If I'm a GM and I'm looking, it's the same thing with the Raptors that the Raptors did with Kawhi. I'm looking at a dude who has the capability of getting there. It doesn't matter if he's a bad teammate. It doesn't matter if he's injury prone. It does. We saw
Mattered to the Mavericks.
year. We saw last year this dude at the age of 24. That is 4 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
Took an entire team. He's the number one guy, the number one option on that team offensively to the NBA Finals. Paul George has never done that.
Well, yeah. Paul George is a whole nother story. we've spoken about.
I know,
him.
but I'm just saying that's the caliber of player he is at that
Sure.
young of an age. It doesn't matter. The outside stuff doesn't matter. The fact is he can do it. He's been there. He can at least, we saw it as recent as the last season. He is capable of getting to the NBA Finals. And to trade away a guy who is 32, injury prone, has had question marks about what he does in the offseason, conditioning, to trade away a guy like that and pick up a guy who is an NBA Finals level player. There are only 2 teams that get to go to the NBA Finals. So last year, he was one of, how many teams are in the NBA? 30? He was one, right?
Yes.
28? He was
30.
one of, or 2 of 30 teams that made it to the final series in the NBA Finals, in the NBA. And to say that, and to look too deep into that and look, oh, this, that, and the third, like you said, any GM is making this trade.
Of course.
If that's
Why can't we say the same thing about the Paul George trade with Shea, though? Anybody would have made that trade, too, and look at where that went.
No, I agree. Anyone would make that trade. But the thing is Paul George didn't do anything. Like, hindsight is 2020. We thought Paul George could do it for us. He didn't. He's a bum.
Why is that not the same thing? Why is that not the same possibility with Luka?
Because the difference is Luka, as recent as last year, has shown us that he can be the guy. And that's all you need to, that's all you need to know.
They didn't win.
At the end of the day, the Lakers are trying to maximize their business, right? They're trying to maximize profits, keep their team and fans happy,
sure,
and win championships.
Absolutely.
And Luka is the perfect piece for them to accomplish all 3.
I absolutely agree with you.
To look that deep and say, oh, like he might have, this, that, and the third in the future. This might happen. Like, it doesn't matter, dude. You gotta. You gotta let go of AD. He's a champion. They appreciate him. He's got to move. Like, got to make that trade. That's it.
Sure, I agree with you, and that's what I said. I think the Lakers did what they needed to do. Every GM in the league would have made that trade, right?
Right.
So they extended their competitive window. What I'm saying here is I don't know if it's as much of a lock to work as a lot of people think that it is, because
dude,
and this is why
about anything like the Raptors picked up Kawhi and they didn't know he was gonna what was gonna happen with that.
For sure,
the same type of gamble. I feel
and that's why I'm not putting it on the Lakers. Like, the Lakers did what they needed to do. Rob Pelinka once again bailed himself out. He did it. But I'm not convinced that this is going to work. And the reason why I have to look at it deeply, well, hold on. The reason why I have to look at this deeply is because it's such a perplexing trade from the Dallas side of things. Like, you look, if you were saying that didn't matter, like the off-court stuff or this or that didn't matter, I mean, this Dallas GM, like this Dallas front office, is the same front office that made the trades for PJ Washington, made the trade for Daniel Gafford, drafted Derek Lively, and they were praised for that. So you have to assume that they're not idiots in that front office, right?
Okay, but
So
okay,
hold on one sec.
All right.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Okay.
So they did all of that. They were praised for it. So you have to assume that there is a competent group of people in that front office. Now they watched Luka go to the finals, right?
Okay.
Most GMs watching their team go to the finals would say, "Hey, let's keep this together. Let's build around this guy, right? There's nothing wrong with this guy. He's our franchise piece. He was on his way to being at Dirk's level, if not higher. I mean, it's always going to be Dirk for me, but regardless, he was on his way to being that level of legend status for the Dallas Mavericks in franchise history. He was right there. He went to the finals, right?
Okay.
If that's the case, and that was so objective that it didn't matter what kind of a teammate he was, what his on-court or what his off-court, personality was, then why did Dallas go and trade him without reaching out to hardly anybody else to try and offload this guy right in the middle of his season?
But that's the thing. Why wouldn't they reach out to anyone else?
Because I think that they were so desperate. I think the Nico Harrison, Rob Pelinka situation helped Rob Pelinka. I think that he was the first person that they reached out to. And I've actually heard sources say that there was probably what, only 5 guys that you could trade, that you could get back an equal return for Luka in terms of like the level of player they are. It's probably Giannis, Jokic, freaking like maybe Booker, a young guy that's willing to be like the centerpiece of a team, whatever. Shea, like guys like that. None of those guys are most likely going to be tradable. So you reach out to the guy that you have a personal relationship in, Rob Pelinka, and you say, "Hey, we need to get rid of this guy. Who can you give us in return? Okay, you can give us a first round pick and a championship level player. You know what? We don't want to deal with this guy anymore. We'll take it." There's something there that we don't know, and that's why I look at it so deeply, is because like it's such a perplexing thing that Dallas just up and traded him without getting as much of a return. Like Rudy Gobert got you more picks, first round picks than that. Like there's something there that we don't know, and I think that there is a lot bigger of a concern with the type of player he is, his ability to go all the way and be, I mean, from a Dallas perspective, like they're around this guy. They drafted this guy. This guy grew up with the franchise. They know him better than anybody else. And I think that because of that, there's a lot deeper of a situation here. What that will be remains to be seen. Maybe it'll work out for them. It's the fucking Lakers. It always seems to work out for them. So I could be completely wrong. But I think that I have to look at this a little bit deeper just because it is so odd that Dallas would trade him in that way.
I honestly think you're looking too deep into it.
I have to.
I do think I think it is strange
because it makes no sense otherwise, dude.
I
it's
agree.
Either blackmail, tampering, or that.
No,
that's the way
agree.
I see it.
I think that if you're a GM, it doesn't really matter what you know. Luka Doncic, just based off of the brand, should be able to bring you anything you pretty much want. To reach out to only one team or two teams is pretty suspicious. Even if the Lakers were the first team they reached out to not reach out to any other team to see if you can get better pieces or see what you can get for Luka Doncic, it is strange to me.
Very strange. And that's why I look at it deeper than surface level.
But that's just something that, we're not going to get until Shams reports it, right? I mean, the dude...
Or until we see what happens with this.
What's his name? Nico
Harrison.
Nico Harrison?
Yeah.
He didn't even reach out to Jason Kidd. He didn't reach out to Jason Kidd. He didn't reach out to Luka. Like, it seems to be like almost like a personal type thing.
It seems to me like they just really needed to get rid of him. That's what it seems like. The thing is like,
even if they really needed to get rid of him, if they announced it or reached out to 10 teams, hey, we're trying to get rid of Luka Doncic by the deadline. What can you give us? I feel like they can get many different pieces, many different options. Maybe they still go with the Lakers, but I think it is strange that they did not reach out to multiple teams and see what they can get. But kind of like connecting this to the Clippers, like I said, it's a bummer to see this work out for the Lakers. It seems like they got a guy where he's 25 years old this season. If it doesn't work out this season, he's 26 next season. If it doesn't work out next season, he's 27 the season after.
You're absolutely
He's probably
right.
going to hit his prime like 27, 28, 29.
Sure. Their window is a lot more open than it was before the trade.
So it seems like their window is a lot more open than it was. If they want to keep the same players, they can try it with this year with the same players, or next year with the same players, or the year after they notice, oh, Luka doesn't play defense. Let's target a defensive guy in the offseason. What I'm trying to say is they got a young piece to lead them into the next era. And for me, it's such a bummer to see the Clippers not be on that same wave. Like I said, all of the best teams in the league right now are young teams led by young superstars, and it just sucks, man. Like it almost feels like the Lakers are always one step ahead. This is why I said Clippers fans got to bully the front office and got to bully the team to make changes, because we've been stuck on this Kawhi train. Every year, the dude gets injured every year, and we run it back, and nothing gets better. I mean, it just sucks, dude.
Yeah, I think that the Clippers, and we'll get into the Clippers trade. I mean, we are a Clipper podcast, so we're gonna have to get into that eventually. But this was such a big deal that I think that it we'd be remiss to not touch on this. And I think the Clippers did exactly what they needed to so far in this trade, like before the trade deadline. But just to, I mean, it can go a series of ways with the Luka thing, just to end it here. But it could go a series of ways. The Lakers did what they needed to do. I just think there's a lot of different ways that you can go about putting yourself in position to win a championship. I think that the Clippers are doing some sort of that, and I think that the Clippers, in a way, have situated themselves for a future plan as well. I mean, the Clippers are going to have a ton of guys off the books in the next couple years. We already made a move to shed contract to get below the luxury tax. We're going to put a premium on salary cap, cap space. You know, going into like the 26, 27 free agency, 27, 28. And, you know, we have a new stadium. A lot of fans or a lot of players, I would imagine, would really like to play at Intuit Dome, be the centerpiece for a franchise like the Clippers, you know, with an owner that cares. I think that the Clippers, in a way, are poising, putting themselves in position to have a future plan as well. They're just not going about it in the same way. And I think that the way that the Lakers did it, it could pay off. But I think with Luka Doncic specifically, it's not a foolproof plan. They needed to make it. But I just have question marks all over the place about Luka Doncic.
I feel like it's the
really
best plan you can get. The only person I feel like that would be even remotely as good of a pickup would be Jason Tatum.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there isn't another young player in the NBA other than maybe SGA that would give you what Luka Doncic gives you.
But look at how long those guys have been on their respective teams and how much tragedy that those guys have had to face. Look at Jason Tatum, always falling short. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led a lottery team, you know, to the top. Like, he led a team to the lottery every draft, you know, every draft.
But you
for
can
the first 3 years. But Luka's going to have to get reintegrated on a whole new team. We don't know what kind of cast and supporting cast they're going to be able to put around Luka, you know, in the next couple of years.
But he has time. That's what I'm getting at.
He does have time, but now you have
a lot of time, and he has a lot of talent to go with
that for sure. The Lakers did what they needed to do. I'm not moved by it yet. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see how he looks over the course of the next couple of years. I'm not. I'm really not.
But how can you say that? After what
I just explained
dude?
I just explained what he's done to us. We knocked his ass out of the playoffs for two straight years.
Bro,
the only time that Luka's team ever beat us was when Kawhi wasn't even able to let go of a rim because his knee hurt so bad.
Dude, But those two series was what, like Luka's second, third, fourth years in the NBA.
Sure, and look what he was doing at that time, and it still wasn't enough.
But
it still wasn't enough.
But we look at last year. Was it enough? Last year.
Yes, because we weren't healthy, and we were a completely different team at that point. The writing was on the wall for that Clipper team.
When you look at the most recent facts, the most recent facts show that he can get it done.
We'll
not
see.
win the championship, obviously.
We'll see. All I'm saying is it's not. We're not at a position. I'm not in a position to say that this is guaranteed to work out for the Lakers. I mean, obviously nobody ever knows.
Guaranteed.
But I think that there's more question marks with this than we are taking away from this at surface level. I mean, it's too perplexing to make sense of. So I have to question all of the moving parts in this. I really do. And I have to question a guy that I've been questioning for the last couple of years in Luka Doncic. Is this guy capable of taking you to a championship? I don't know. Bro, and then your second option.
You were preying on his downfall last year.
Of course I am. Of course I am. But that doesn't mean that it's not true.
You're watching him on the biggest stage.
It worked. It worked the year. I mean, if we were healthy, if the Clippers were healthy, they could have gotten bounced in the first round again. They might not have. But I think that aside, like all of that aside, Luke is amazing. He is amazing. He is an offensive, like I said, a generational offensive talent. But there are red flags in his game that I've been taking note of objectively for the last 4 years.
It's objective.
It is. It must be, because the Dallas Mavericks are saying the same things that I've been saying for the last 4 fucking years.
They're not, dude. It's just the management. It's just the GM. We didn't hear from Jason Kidd. He said he didn't even reach out to Jason Kidd. That's the coach.
Because Jason Kidd has no dog in that fight.
How? He's the coach.
He has no decision. He has no hand in what the front office does. In theory.
How? He's the coach. He's the guy that's
at the end of the day, the front office is the one that pulls the trigger.
I know, but at the end of the day, he has his hands on that team.
You see it
I need Luka. He's the guy that brought us there last year. I need him again this year.
And they say, great, Jason Kidd, that's fucking awesome. We're going to trade him anyway.
The GM would be like, we're not going to. But to not even talk to him is crazy, dude.
You see it all over the place, dude.
You see it supposed to be the right-hand man.
For sure. But you see it all over the league where a GM and a coach do not see eye to eye. You saw it with Ty Lue and Lawrence Frank. Ty Lue said that he wants a pure point guard. Lawrence Frank days later goes out and says, we want a guy that won't be played off the court. We want a guy that can play both sides of the ball. And we go out and we make trades according to that. And then Paul George and Ty Lue and everybody on the team say, we need a pure point guard. We go and get Russell Westbrook, even though it was very clearly not
what about Rajon Rondo? That was our pure point guard.
We've tried that time and time again because Ty Lue wanted a pure point guard, and
exactly.
and not just talking about the Clippers. You see it with the Warriors. The Warriors are completely and utterly unwilling to trade Podziemski and Kuminga. Yet Steve Kerr is barely playing Kuminga in minutes that he should be playing in. Like there's always not always, but very, very frequently there's a disconnect between coach and front office, and I think the front office saw something with Luka that they felt wasn't going to get it done, and so they shipped him out. We'll see. The Lakers made the move that they needed to make. I'm not convinced that it's going to work the way that a lot of people do. I'm not. And you can't convince me otherwise.
I guess there's nothing I can say, dude. If you believe it, then you believe it.
Clipper fans, listeners of the pod, please tell us what you think of this, because this is obviously a very polarizing topic. And I think that it can go, as I said, and I think Rola and I can agree, it can go a series of different ways, as do all trades of this caliber. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of this Luka Doncic trade, what you think of the Maverick side of things. I think that just to touch on that real quick, I don't think the Maverick side of things is like even matters at this point. I think that AD and Kyrie could be competitive. Maybe they go deep in the playoffs this year, but like, that's just a microcosm of this whole thing. I think the bigger story is Luka Doncic going to the Lakers. So, guys, let us know what you think about that. We're going to move on from that, and we're going to talk very briefly about the Clippers move before the deadline. For those that don't know, the Clippers were finally able to offload PJ Tucker's $11.5 million off of the books. So they packaged PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, and a second round pick to acquire Patty Mills and Drew Eubanks from the Utah Jazz. In doing so, they offloaded an extra $4 million. So they're $4 million, I think, $4 million and change below the luxury tax. So now the Clippers can make a play in the buyout market, which they weren't able to do prior. Which again is something that I think the Clippers are really taking, putting a very high level of importance on is staying below, the luxury tax and the first apron and all that stuff, which I think is great. The Clippers now have a chance, even with the acquisitions that they made. Patty Mills, love Patty Mills. I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think Drew Eubanks is a solid backup center. He's better than Mo Bamba. Not the backup center I would have gotten, but I think he's serviceable and he's good. But now I think the most important thing is the Clippers can finally play around in the buyout market. If a player like Lonzo Ball gets bought out, or a player like Bruce Brown or Ben Simmons or someone like that gets bought out, the Clippers can make a play and try to sign them for the vet minimum. What would be awesome is if De'Aaron Fox went to the Spurs, they felt like they didn't need Chris Paul anymore. They buy him out, and then he comes back to the Clippers to run point off the bench.
I don't want him back in the Clips, bro.
I do. I love Chris Paul. But basically, the Clippers give themselves a little bit more leeway in the buyout market while bringing in a backup center that is going to be an improvement over Mo Bamba, who just wasn't cutting it for the Clippers this season. What's your takeaway from this one? And also, PJ Tucker's gone, guys. So I think that deserves...
That's a dub.
That deserves one of these. Hold on.
Hey.
PJ Tucker is gone, guys.
Yeah, that's a dub.
Yeah. What's your takeaway, Rola?
Dude, I've always liked Eubanks.
He's good.
I think he's a solid center. I think he's a solid backup center. I think he's kind of, from what I've seen, he's kind of a rim protector. He gets his fair share of blocks.
I think he's like boards. a decent rim protector.
Yeah, and I think that's a great pickup personally. I think he's a great big to back up Zoo and kind of be like a poor man's version of Zoo when Zoo gets hot, has to rest.
Sure.
And then Patty Mills, dude. I mean, this dude's a professional. I think he's kind of nearing the end of his career, but I think him with a James Harden kind of like dishing the ball, being like a pure catch and shoot type of point guard, running around, tiring out the opposing team and getting those catch and shoot open corner threes. I think he can be pretty useful, but like you said, I think the biggest dub for us was getting rid of PJ Tucker. I think I think that was the goal of not the goal, but I think that was one of the goals, one of the bullet points of this trade. And I think that, we got a pretty decent return.
Yeah, I think that the Clippers were able to, and obviously the deadline is still yet to come. The deadline's going to be on Thursday of this upcoming week. So the Clippers might make another move or two, but I think as it stands right now, the Clippers are putting a premium on keeping their core together, keeping these group of guys that are playing together, whole. I mean, we saw what, playing in an environment that's comfortable and an environment of guys that get along with each other. I mean, we saw what that's done for Norman Powell's game this season. Like, I think that for the most part, the Clippers have been really good this season. And I think that keeping the core together and just giving it a shot, I think that based on the hands that were dealt, that's the best way to approach it. And I like Rola said, I think Eubanks is solid. I do like the fact that he's not going to do too much coming off the bench. I think what we really needed to do was Zoo's been so good this season that we just need a guy to come in and give Zoo 7 minutes of rest. Yeah. Not make any mistakes. We don't need him to come in and hit a bunch of threes or whatever. Because Zoo deserves all the usage from the center position. So I like the trade. But I mean, that's pretty much all the Clippers have done at the deadline. We're still waiting on some of the other trades like De'Aaron Fox and Jimmy Butler. Everybody on the Bulls, basically everybody on the Wizards, I would imagine, teams like that. So we'll have a lot more to talk about in terms of the trade deadline, on the following episode. But for now, I mean, those two trades are the ones that really matter to the Clippers as it stands right now. So I think, do you have anything else you wanted to touch on in terms of trades, Rola?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, let's jump right into recaps, guys. It was 3 games since we last talked. The first of which was a win against the San Antonio Spurs. This one was kind of a rock fight all game. I think that the biggest storyline in this one was the matchup between Zubats and Wemby, which was something that I touched on last game. I looked for Zoo to be dominant in this one. Just in terms of the way that they play, Zoo and Wemby are such different players. But, I mean, they kind of like take advantage of each other's weaknesses and their strengths and stuff like that. And it was a great matchup between those two. Zoo ended up finishing the game with 21 points, 22 rebounds, just a monster game from Zoo. Victor Wembanyama, 23 with 12 rebounds, was 3 for 6 from 3, was spreading the floor, was 8 for 16 from the field. He was really efficient. And there was actually a moment where Zoo, got fouled on a layup. Foul wasn't called, went on the other end right before the buzzer, kind of shoulder checks Wemby. Wemby goes flying to the ground, and then Zoo's walking the other way, and Wemby gets up and starts charging at Zoo. There was a little bit of animosity there. Nothing came of it. I don't think Wemby's about that life just yet.
Absolutely not. No, he never will.
But bottom line, it was a great matchup between those two. A real clash of the Titans, as it were. The supporting cast stepped up as well. 27 from Kawhi. This is a really good game from Kawhi. 27 from Norm. He was good in this one. This was the game where he injured his hip, which he missed the Raptors game today with. James Harden with 21 and 11 assists. Good game from James. 12 points from Nico off the bench. Nico was really great in the first half of this one. Was, I think, 3 for 3 from 3, which was awesome to see. Making big plays. But yeah, this game, there was never really any separation from either team until about the fourth quarter when the Clippers really started to pour it on.
Yep.
But this was a fun one. What was your takeaway from this one, Rola?
Well, first of all, I believe this was a game and that the Spurs fans booed Kawhi.
Yeah, still.
I just want to say, man, I'm not a Spurs fan, but if you're a Spurs fan and you're hating on Kawhi, I truly don't understand why you would. At least this Spurs,
far along down the road, like it's over.
I don't care, dude. I think if I know the way he left was the way he departed was a little messy.
Yeah,
but this dude was a Finals MVP for you. Won you guys a championship. And to even utter a boo is insane to me. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of a team that's never won a chip, but if anyone the team that eventually wins the Clippers a championship, I don't care what they do or where they go after, there will always and forever be in my heart
a hero,
a true love, dude.
Yeah,
because you gotta appreciate and maybe it's because
what it takes.
Won so many, yeah, maybe it's because they've won so many chips in recent years that they're kind of spoiled and they just think like, oh, anyone who wins us a chip needs to be a Spur for life, be like Tim Duncan. But that's just not the case. And to have any sort of animosity towards Kawhi is unreal to me and unbelievable to me. And I just, felt like that was the wrong thing of them to do.
I mean, there was that one game where Popovich was telling everybody to stop booing.
Yeah, right. Right. So Kawhi drops 27 points on them and, went off in the fourth quarter. But overall, I felt like this was a really close game. Like you said, until the fourth quarter where we kind of just poured on our points. Our starters kind of took over. But yeah, I think the main topic of the game was the Zoo Wembanyama matchup, which I believe Zoo completely dominated. Although it was an initial foul by Wembanyama on Zoo and Zoo retaliated, I think that was just Zoo telling Wembanyama, "You're not on my level yet, kid.
Hit the weight room."
Hit the weight room.
Yeah.
Eat your veggies and your protein and get bigger.
Probably more protein than veggies for Wemby. I think he needs to.
You got to
bulk up. Yeah.
15,000 calories a day, bro. But I kind of got the ick when Wemby when Wemby like charged it.
It was the way that he ran at Zoo. It was like I was telling telling the guys in the fantasy group chat that we have that like he was running in a way that a kid would run if his mom was telling him that like pizza rolls were ready. Like it was like almost excited. Like he was like really floppy and loosey goosey with it. Yeah, like it was funny.
Like he looks like he's still not used to his body type of thing. Like
like baby deer kind
exactly.
of thing, or
like
baby
he doesn't
giraffe.
understand his limbs yet, dude. Like sometimes he gets kind of wild with it.
But hey, you know what? Good for Wemby too. Like I think that like it shows like a level
passion.
of fight and competitive nature that like
Right.
a lot of people really want from guys like that.
Of course.
You know, so but he wasn't gonna do shit.
No, he wasn't. And it's funny because I think if he had stepped up to Zoo and tried to push him, I genuinely don't think he could push Zoo.
Move. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
he would-
Zoo
he
is
himself
a large
would
human
move,
being.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that gave me a little bit of a chuckle, but yeah, overall, you know, this is a pretty young Spurs team, and when it comes down to it, you know, our starters should be winning these types of games in the fourth quarter,
Sure.
which they did.
Sure. Yeah, great. It was a great game all around. You know, not many bench minutes outside of like the usual suspects. Amir Coffey, Terrence only got 11. Nico got 17. KPJ 18. KPJ's been still quietly very good on the boards. You know, at the guard position, he's been hit and miss in terms of his shot and his decision making. But the one thing that I've really liked about Kevin Porter has been his ability to grab rebounds, and he's kind of continued that. So that was a cool thing. But yeah, great game to get the win. Very competitive game, fun to watch. The following game was against the Charlotte Hornets, and I was mistaken. This was the game that Norman Powell ended up tweaking his hip in. Norman Powell with 27 again in this one. The Clippers ended up taking a 112-104 victory against the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets kind of wouldn't go away for about 3 quarters. They're actually a pretty decent defense. I think they're like 14th in the league on defense. Not very good offensively, but they scrap defensively, and it was kind of apparent in this one that they weren't going to go down without a fight. 27 from Miles Bridges. You know, he's a pretty extreme athlete. You know, he can get to the rim with ease at times. 20 from Vasa Micic. He's been pretty solid for them, you know, without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Moussa Diabate had a really solid game. Clipper legend. I'm glad that he's getting some minutes for the Charlotte Hornets. He kind of showed off his defensive switchability, which was something that the Clippers really liked in him when they drafted him. So I'm glad that he's getting some time and a chance to show off, you know, that he is an NBA player, and he's really looked good, you know, in spurts this season. But for the most part, you know, the Clippers kind of had command of this one. 21 from Kawhi, not a great game, but not a bad game. Pretty efficient. 4 for 7 from 3, so he was knocking down the 3, which has been good because he's been a little bit hit and miss from 3 since he's come back. Ivica Zubac, 14 points, 11 rebounds, a little quiet night from him. Same thing with James, 14 points, 10 assists. Amir Coffey with 10. Quiet game from the bench, but for the most part, the starters came in and did what they needed to do. Did you have any takeaways from this one, Rola?
You know, not really. I mean, this is a Hornets team that kind of, like I said in the last pod, this is a Hornets team that isn't really on our level, especially without LaMelo Ball. So I was a little bit surprised at how close the game was. But overall, it seemed like we kind of kept the lead. And, you know, the Hornets weren't going away. But at the end of the day, as long as we kind of, you know, win each quarter, I think that's what happened in this situation. And we ended up winning the game. But,
yeah, I mean, no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like I was saying, like overall, I feel like our team just kind of did their jobs on this day.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was hoping that, and we'll get to the Raptors game in a sec, but I was hoping that the Clippers would kind of continue this. The Clippers have been a little hit and miss in terms of putting teams away, especially teams that are you know, a lower talent pool than the Clippers. But they did a good job of that against the Spurs, and they did a good job of that against the Hornets. So yeah, took care of business. Unfortunately, today at 12:30 Pacific time, so 3:30 Toronto time. The Clippers ended up taking a 115 to 108 loss against the Toronto Raptors. This one was kind of the exact opposite of what you were talking about, Rola, in terms of taking care of the situation at hand with a a team that's struggling. The Clippers looked like the team that should be losing this one for most of this game. The first quarter was okay, but pretty much after that, the Raptors kind of had their foot on the gas and blew it open in the third. The Clippers tried to surge back in the fourth, but couldn't really get it done. They didn't have Norman Powell in this one, so that definitely hurt them. Extended minutes for KPJ and Terrence and Nico. But Amir Coffey ended up getting the start. But yeah, the name of the game in this one was that the Raptors were beating the Clippers to every loose ball, getting all kinds of offensive rebounds, getting second chance points. The Clippers were just a step slow, and the offense was really, really bad. James and Kawhi couldn't get anything to fall. Kawhi was 6 for 18 from the field. James Harden 7 for 20, 1 for 5 from Kawhi from 3, and 2 for 9 from James from 3. They were getting to the line, but Kawhi wasn't really hitting his free throws either. 14 points in the game for Kawhi, 25 from James, but a lot of that was kind of, the game was already, written in stone at that point. Good game from Kevin Porter, 17 points from him off the bench. But yeah, I mean, the Raptors just dominated this one in terms of hustle and the will to win, and the Clippers just looked flat.
I agree. Yeah, it was kind of the brick show for Kawhi. I feel like while watching, it kind of felt like he was missing every shot.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. That's going to happen every once in a while. It's just unfortunate to see it against the Toronto Raptors. I feel like RJ Barrett had a really good game, and that was pretty much it. Like the Toronto Raptors kind of just like scrapped themselves to a win here. And kind of kept the lead for most of the game, and then in the third quarter, or most of the first half, and then in the third quarter they kind of shut us down and kept the lead from there on, and that was kind of how they won the game. It felt like we just couldn't get going today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because these are the games that they really need to take advantage of. Now, as it stands, the Clippers are, I think, a full game back from the Lakers and a game ahead of the Timberwolves. So things are getting a lot closer. And with the Clippers losing a lot of their tiebreakers on the season, Clippers need to take advantage of games like this. It was an earlier game. It was the last game in a road trip. So I understand the tired legs, but the Clippers need to find a way to dig deep. Yes, they didn't have Norman Powell, but you can't get out hustled. You can, shots don't fall, so be it. The Raptors were hitting some tough shots, but the late being late to rebounds and loose balls and letting the Raptors get second and third opportunities late to close out on shooters, that just can't happen, and you take your chances of even winning a game like that completely out of the question. So this was a disappointing one. Once the third quarter ended, I was pretty sure that this one was going to be a loss. The Clippers fought their way back into it, sort of, as they've done throughout the season, but it just wasn't enough, and they put themselves too far in the hole to be able to recover. So, unfortunate loss, but, it is what it is. Now, the Clippers will face the Lakers back home on Tuesday, so in a couple days, they'll have a day to rest. And it'll be business as usual against the team that just traded for Luka Doncic. I don't think he's going to be available. I think there has been no timetable for his return. But we're going to get into previews, the first of which being that Lakers game coming right up. We're going to take a quick break, so stay with us. All right, guys, we are back. We're going to breeze through our previews for the next series of games, and we're going to get right into hot take, shot take after that. So the first game that we will be previewing is going to be, as we said, against the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think that Luka, unless there's some other stuff that we don't know in terms of his injury, but as far as I have gathered, there's no date of return for Luka. I would imagine that he doesn't play in this one. And
He
if
won't.
that's the case, then you're looking at a AD-less and Max Christie-less Lakers. Um, I think that this is one that the Clippers should probably win. I mean, we should probably
They
win
beat the Knicks last
regardless.
night, though.
They did. The Knicks played horrible down the stretch, but that's neither here nor there. Um, I think that this is one just based on our recent matchups with the Lakers. I think that we're able to win this one. Um, I don't know if Eubanks and Mills will be available for this one, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if Norman Powell will be back for this one. Also, we didn't really touch on it, so far in this episode, but Chris Dunn is still out with some sort of knee soreness, so I'm wondering if he comes back in this one. His ball pressure would have been great against the Raptors, but would be great against the Lakers and the rest of the games moving forward as well. So a lot of question marks in this one in terms of who's actually available to play. But regardless, I think that this is a game that the Clippers should win. I hope they win. And I actually have something kind of related to that for my hot take, shot take. So that's all I'm going to say about this game so far.
Okay.
Rolla, do you have anything that you're looking for in this game? Maxi Kleba and Markeith might be available, so they might have some front court help. But
Yeah. I think that this one should be a dub for the Clips. Like I've said in the past, it seems like the Clippers have a little bit more motivation when it comes to these matchup games, just because it's the Clippers versus the Lakers. Most of the fans are going to be Team Laker, so we're kind of going in there to ruin the party. And I think this is the first time the Clippers will be back in Staples Center since.
no, this is at Intuit. This one's at Intuit again.
This one's at Intuit again.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad.
So scrap that idea.
But yeah, I mean, they won't have Anthony Davis. They won't have Luka yet, which I mean, I don't think they won't have Luka yet. I mean, he's supposed to be still injured, but we don't know if that was because of.
If Luka comes back for this one, I will be so upset.
I mean,
just
it
because
would make
it's
sense.
like
He does hate it. I mean,
I know, but like if he was secretly just sandbagging for a trade, like
but they
this
do
whole
that,
situation, yeah,
dude. I mean, they do that.
I don't see it happening.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll be back. But yeah, this should. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight either way. But hopefully, we'll see a Clipper win.
Yeah, I completely agree. Would love to see that. The following game is going to be Thursday, February 6th, against the Indiana Pacers in Intuit as well. It's the second game of a little homestand. The Indiana Pacers have kind of always given the Clippers a little trouble. Clippers have done a pretty good job in terms of record against the Pacers as of late, but I mean, with Tyrese Halliburton at the helm, they're a really efficient offense. He's played a lot better than he did to start the season. This year, he's kind of rounding back into form. This isn't going to be an easy one, I don't think. I mean, their record, doesn't. Actually, no, their record's a bit better than I thought it would be. They're fourth in the East, 27-20.
Pretty good.
They play really fast. Everybody's kind of stepping up. As they did kind of last season. They're 21st in defense, but their offense has been pretty good, as it typically is under Tyrese Halliburton and with Rick Carlisle, at the head coaching position. 9th in points per game and 8th in assists per game. They're 26th in rebounds per game, so I think that Zoo should be pretty dominant in this one. The only thing that I'm looking for in terms of the Zoo storyline is kind of what I was looking for against him or against Wemby, where Miles Turner does like to stretch the floor. So is Zoo going to be able to hang with Miles Turner at the perimeter if he stretches the floor? We'll see, but I would imagine that Zoo can really take advantage of the glass in this one.
Yeah, I agree. The Pacers are a good team. I think this is going to be a tough game. I think this is going to be one of the toughest matchups we're going to see for a while or in a while. Just because, like you said, the Pacers play really fast. Tyrese Halliburton is back. And, it seems like they've been flowing recently. I don't know how many games they've won recently, but it seems like they've been winning a decent amount. So I think that, it's going to be a tough one, and we're going to need our stars to step up.
This is
especially with Norman Powell out.
Totally. This is one where we could really use Norm back because, as I said, their defense is not great. So if Norm, who's done such a good job at attacking the basket, especially in transition, grabbing the rebound and pushing the pace, getting the foul calls. If we can get Norm in this one, I would imagine that he has a pretty big night too, just in terms of offensive aggression, attacking the defensive mismatches, and we could really use him in this one, as we can in every game. But against a defense like the Pacers, a score like Norman Powell would really help. The final game that we're going to talk about in previews is against the Utah Jazz on Saturday, February 8th, the day before Super Bowl. I might be out of town for this one. One of the homies is having a birthday in Santa Barbara, so I might be out of town for this one, but I'm going to try to find a way to watch it. But if I don't, I'm just going to assume that this one's going to be a win because the Utah Jazz are the Utah Jazz. Maybe we get a Eubanks revenge game in this one.
Ooh, would love to see that.
Or a Patty Mills revenge game. That would be a cool little thing to see. But yeah, again, as we've said time and time again this season, the Clippers need to take advantage of the lesser opponent and put this game away early because every win counts. At this point of the season and where the standings are, and the following game on Wednesday is going to be against the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's going to be a lot tougher of a matchup. Clippers need to really round these 3 games out with a win against the Utah Jazz. What are you looking for in this one, Rola?
Like you said, I mean, this is one where, the Clippers just need to lock in and put this team away. It seems like they've had a lot of injuries, people sitting out and not really focused. I think they're on a tank for who's the number 1 pick? Why am I blanking?
Cooper Flag.
Player? Oh yeah, capture the flag. Tank for Cooper Flag mission. So I mean, this is one where I think they're almost trying to lose.
Yeah.
So I like you said, I think Clippers just need to take advantage of that.
They're bottom 10 in just about every statistical category except for rebounding, in which they are 9th in the league. So this is one way that the Jazz can get us. It can kind of bite us in the ass if we let guys like Kessler and Collins, and some of their bigger guys in the front court get those second chance points. So again, as always, as we've seen this season, Zoo needs to remain aggressive on the glass. And if Eubanks is available in this one, I'd like to see a good, strong game from him to kind of show Clipper fans that he's going to be useful for the backup center position. So. Yep, I would imagine a dub in that one. Not going to give any predictions. We are a superstitious bunch on this podcast, but I kind of like the stretch of games. It's enough competition to be able to kind of sharpen the Clippers a bit, but it's not anything crazy. And I would imagine that the Clippers, hopefully play well in these games. But I think that about does it for previews, guys. And now, everybody's favorite segment, Hot Take, Shot Take. Rola, what is your... let's get an applause in here. 1 second, guys. No. You shouldn't have, guys. Guys, cut it out.
This is a long one.
I was gonna let it roll out.
Roll out.
Yeah. So, Rola, what is your drink of choice in this? On this lovely Sunday.
Today's hot take, shot take will be the classic Tito's vodka in
the classic
in
a little sweater, huh?
Hoodie.
For those of you guys that are listening but not watching this on YouTube, Rola's bottle of Tito's is wearing a sweater.
Because it's a little chilly, you know what I'm saying?
It is a little chilly. Is it snowing in New York right now, Rola?
It's supposed to on Wednesday, I believe.
So
that's lovely.
Very cool. Well, we have fire. Indoors. We have fire down here. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we did get a little bit of rain, but
the climate's going crazy.
Yeah,
it's almost like
take a shot for climate change.
Yeah, don't want to get into politics here, but
climate change is real.
Yeah.
All right, Roland, what's your hot take?
So
The
my
people
hot
want to
take.
know.
Can you drum roll?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, give me a good one.
Wait.
That's not a drum roll.
Wait a second. Hold on, guys.
There we go.
All right. Hot take, shot take is
The Clippers will trade for De'Aaron Fox.
whoa. You know, I've heard
That's my hot
chatter.
take.
I've heard chatter of that. I don't think that is gonna happen.
I think I think I think this Lakers trade is going to shake some things up.
It's a good point.
And Clippers might want to match them with.
I hope they don't, though. I hope they don't
with, like, a
panic
young
and
star.
try to. Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I would
But
actually.
Terrence
be
Mann
happy.
would have to. Terrence Mann would have to go, though.
I would fucking throw up on the side of the fucking.
Who
road,
are we
dude.
gonna trade? Who are we gonna trade for De'Aaron Fox?
Dude,
It's
give
not
away
gonna be
Harden
James
and
or Kawhi.
bro.
It's not
Give
gonna be
both of them
that.
away, dude. Also, we didn't talk about James Harden All-Star.
Oh yeah, I think it's deserved. I think Norman Powell deserved it too, but easily James Harden easily deserves the All-Star.
I think Norman Powell deserved it more than James Harden.
More?
Personally. I think Norman Powell
That's
the
tough.
entire season has had it on, and I think James Harden just recently turned it on.
That's fair. You got to take 2 shots now. That is
Is that a hot take? I feel like it's not hot, dude.
That's a hot take.
All right, that was two half of a.
Yeah, take 2 half
half of a-
shots.
I'll take 2 half shots. All right, cheers, guys.
Bottoms up, hot take, shot take. We'll give you a drum roll as you take the shot. How'd that taste?
Dude, vodka's so fucking gross, bro.
It's the worst.
yeah,
it's the
I hate
worst.
that.
All right, so that was your first shot. Second one is that Norman Powell deserves.
Oh, I'm not taking another. I'm not taking another vodka.
Oh,
I
okay.
hate to say it.
Sure.
That,
Okay.
that was so brutal, bro.
All right. Well,
That was a
2
brutal
for the
one.
price of 1 then. So I am also going to be regrettably taking a shot of vodka for my hot take, shot take. Now I got this
What
as
kind
a
of
Christ-
vodka?
I got this as a Christmas present, and I haven't opened it because I don't like vodka. For those that are listening and not watching, I got the most freakishly large bottle of Kirkland Costco vodka, and I'm not going to be drinking this otherwise. So, what better time to use this gargantuan 17-pound bottle than hot take, shot take? So I'm pouring up. Spilling. I just spilled all over myself.
Damn.
So my hot
Pull it
take.
up.
What was my hot take? I had it. Oh yeah,
Ooh.
it's not that hot.
You got to give yourself a drum roll.
Okay, but it's not that hot. I could probably come up with another one if Rola. You tell me if this deserves
hot enough?
another one. Yeah.
All right.
But drum roll is here. Okay, my hot take, shot take is that the Clippers are going to beat the Lakers every single game that they play them this season.
Whoa. How many more matchups do we have?
3.
We have 3 more?
3 more. Yeah,
Interesting.
because they're in our division, and we've only played them 1
Interesting.
time.
That's a hot take.
Okay, got you. So yeah, that's my hot take. The Clippers will go undefeated against the Lakers this season. You heard it here first. With or without Luka Doncic. That's how it goes. I don't make the rules.
Facts.
Mm.
Good luck.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, it smells gross. The Diet Coke.
Down the
as a
hatch.
chase.
There we have it. Yeah, guys, that was hot take, shot take.
been a
If you
minute.
guys listening at home or in the car or at the park or at the mall or wherever you're listening,
At the park.
at the bar, maybe you're listening to us
yeah.
at the bar.
On the way to work.
Sure, yeah. Those of you that are listening, let us know if you have any hot takes that you would like to get off. Maybe take a shot at home, or if you are not of age, take a little sip of apple juice, Sprite,
Orange juice.
carrot juice, V8, if you're one of the healthy
Ooh, tomatoes.
individuals. Yeah,
Tomato
tomato juice. Let us know what your guys' hot takes are, because this is the time of year to get them off. There is a lot of speculation a lot of question marks. So a lot of things can happen from here until Thursday at 12 p.m. So guys, let us know what you think. We would love to hear all of your hot takes. Comment below in YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, and we will reply with what we think your hot take. We will reply with a rating on what we think your hot take deserves.
Oh yeah.
So we will get involved in this if you guys do. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I think that pretty much does it. We will be tuning in. Well, next Sunday is Super Bowl, so maybe we'll be tuning. We'll get one going on Monday or on Tuesday or something like that. Regardless, we will be there for your Clipper needs next episode. And hopefully there's going to be a lot to talk about between now and the trade deadline and next episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Clip Service Podcast. As Rola said up top, you can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Deezer. Get at us on YouTube, on Twitter and Instagram. And as I said, comment below with your hot takes, and we will let you know what we think of them. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's go Clips, and fuck Luka Doncic.
Fuck Luka.